Hi, everyone. Welcome to Circle Chats with Magical Beginnings. This is going to be a new segment that we're launching for all of our parents, families, new families. Today, we're going to talk about COVID-19 and what our school has really done to amp up the already awesome cleaning policies that we have and what we've added in place. So hopefully this will be really helpful to you guys and you can get an understanding of what our school looks like. Since families can't enter the schools right now, you can get a little bit of a view from the inside. So I'm going to introduce everybody and then we'll get started. So Courtney, please wave your hand. So this is Courtney. She is one of the directors, along with myself, of the Magical Beginnings River Academy in Middleton. Laura, raise your hand, say hello. So that's Laura. She is our senior managing director, and she is also one of the directors of the Peabody location. So, and then Linda, you can say hi.
Hello.
Linda is our owner of Magical Beginnings, and we have 6 locations for those of you who don't know. Okay. So Linda, do you want to start just by explaining how everything's been going at the location since this pandemic has started in March?
Yes. So I'm happy to report that we've had great success over the last 9 months. For those who don't know, 4 out of our 6 locations remained open to have emergency care. We acted quickly to be able to provide a safe environment for our families and staff without any interruption in care. I also want to give a huge shout out to everybody. So my staff were rock stars during this. So I really want to say thank you, especially to everybody here today on the panel. During these crazy times, they really gave a unique place for the children to come to have that social and emotional piece. For this reason, I wanted to take the time today to explain all of the protocols that we've been put in place and continue in all our locations. We will continue to communicate regularly to our families and staff on any changes of safety protocol. We'll communicate through these ways. So through our email, we'll communicate through the class dojo, and we'll be doing more circle talks also.
Yes, communication is very important. So Laura, I know that Magical Beginnings, I take pride in the fact that we are super clean and we've already had amazing cleaning policies, but do you want to talk about how we've really ramped up those measures during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Sure. So first of all of our products are EPA certified, our cleaning, disinfectant, and sanitizers. We clean all day long. So for example, most directors get there a half hour before we open. We clean the thorough cleaning of the school, all high-touch areas such as doorknobs, light switches, railings, all common areas such as bathroom, kitchen, the foyer. Everything's cleaned before opening. And then once the teachers get in and the classrooms get up and going, the toys are cleaned throughout each use. So for example, sorry, if a child is playing with a bucket toy, once they're done with that toy, the teacher will take that bucket toy, clean it, sanitize it, and replace it with a different bucket. And that's done all day throughout the day, in all age groups, infants, toddlers, and preschool. We wear gloves, during cleaning, whenever we're working with the children, changing diapers, obviously, so forth, wiping noses, and our hands are washed constantly all day long. We, are doing infant laundry 1 to 2 times a day. We wash the toddler and preschool blankets daily. The mats are disinfected daily as well. We make sure everything is labeled, especially all the children's belongings, to try to avoid mix-ups. And we've also installed hands-free, touch-free soap dispensers and hand paper towels. So we just wave our hands under and it automatically dispenses to avoid, multiple touching of that as well.
Great. So all but 2 of our schools also have what is called a Zono Machine. A Zono Machine is basically, it looks like a giant refrigerator, and it's a way that you can clean your toys in a green way. It's 99.9% effective, and it uses oxygen and water molecules, which I think is kind of interesting because, it's all safe for the children. So I actually brought in the Zono Machine. This is one of the racks. So we just load up the toys in here, and we put them through a 30-minute cycle, and then they're clean and sanitized and ready to go. We do that frequently throughout the day with our toys, mats, anything that we can honestly put anything in it except for ourselves. So,
Well, actually, I'm sorry, the P, because when we open, we have air filters that we work with Harvard through, and it kind of purifies the air all day long to keep fresh air circulating. So we have that in all 5 of our classrooms. And then I also want to add to make sure that you know that we vacuum our rugs every day. We clean them monthly as well.
Yeah, and then we also just implemented, I'm going to try to say the name right, an electrostatic sprayer. So we call it a fogger here for short, but basically this works. We do it once to twice a week in every classroom or as needed. We spray the whole room down once it's closed out, and then it sits overnight and sanitizes so that it's ready to go for the next day. So these have come in handy. They're so easy to use and easy to sanitize.
It's actually very helpful to clean up when we're spraying the outdoor structures as well.
Yes, we clean everything between uses like the playground. So lots of cleaning is done here. So Linda, do you want to talk a little bit about how the food safety measures have changed since COVID, so that we've made the mealtime safer for children?
During COVID, we had to make the decision that we would no longer at Magical Beginnings offer breakfast or morning or PM snacks. We asked that the parents should send in all their snacks, lunches, drinks, utensils, everything that they need to be successful for their meals. We asked the parents to please label the snacks, keep them separate from lunch, label everything that you can with your child's name on it. We also want to just make sure that everybody knows too that the items they sent in, we are a nut-free facility, so definitely take a close look at some of those labels. We ask that the parents also cut everything in bite size so that the children can be successful. And if you're dropping your child off between the hours of 7 and 8 in the morning and they haven't had breakfast yet, we certainly send something in with them and they can have it right there in their classroom. The tables and chairs and high chairs that the infants may use, they are disinfected before and after each use when we're doing meal times. Staff will wear gloves so that they can assist in opening any food containers that the children might need. And staff and children wash their hands before and after meal times. Our infant teachers, we have provided them with smocks to wear throughout the day. So when they are feeding the babies, whether they're giving them bottles or giving them their food, they will be wearing those smocks. We do, again, just going back to please label everything, not just for the infant room, but for our toddler, preschool, and pre-K rooms, so that there's no confusion. Magical Beginnings, we love to celebrate birthdays. We celebrate all holidays. So if you decide to send something into the classroom, just check with the teachers. We ask that it's only store-bought. That way we can make sure we can check the ingredients. So for those kids in the classroom who have allergies also.
Yeah, and so we just touched a little bit about how the kids wash their hands during their meal times before and after. But Courtney, do you want to talk just like about how frequently the kids are washing their hands and maybe give some examples of the times during the day that they're washing their hands?
Yeah, definitely. So the kids are washing their hands constantly throughout the day. The first time they wash is right when they come into the building. They go into their classrooms, put their belongings away, and the teacher will bring them to the bathroom. There's always a teacher at the bathroom watching the child and helping the child. And then the same routine is done at the end of the day when their parents call to pick them up. The teacher brings them in, makes sure their hands are cleaned, they get their belongings, and then they go. Linda also had stated that they wash their hands before and after meals. Obviously, this is super important, especially where mealtime can be oral for most of the children in our program. They have utensils, but they love to stick those fingers in their mouths. So we always want to make sure their hands are cleaned after their meals, just as before. After they wipe their nose and cough is another super important time of the day for them to wash. We also encourage that they are still trying to cough in the nook of their elbow to help reduce the germs on their hands and also to reduce the airborne germs. If the kids are outside on the playground and they're unable to go inside to wash their hands, we did have parents fill out a permission form for the kids to be able, that are old enough to have access to hand sanitizer, so they can sanitize their hands outside on the playground. We also have them wash their hands before going outside and once they come in from outside. We want to keep the germs at bay. The germs that are already in stay in and don't get brought out to the playground, and vice versa. So some of the things that we have set up to help the kids wash their hands thoroughly is, it is obviously recommended that they wash for 20 seconds with warm water. So we have postings in the bathrooms with visuals, so they know the proper steps. Again, there's always a teacher at the door. Laura had mentioned we have the sensor soap dispensers, so there's no touch there. And a lot of our teachers have actually come up with very clever songs. Some of them are to Frozen, some of them to Taylor Swift. For the younger kids, we usually stick with the ABCs, but we make sure that it's a 20-second song that they're washing on the top of their hands, in between their fingers, their palms, rinsing thoroughly. Then with the touchless paper towels, they dry their hands, and then the teachers encourage them, or for those who need help, they guide them to turn the water off with their paper towel. All of these measures we've been practicing at Magical Beginnings well before COVID. So all of our teachers are very well versed in hand washing, and our kids have an awesome routine.
Yes, they definitely do. So Laura, can you explain, how Magical Beginnings has changed some of their drop off and pickup policies during this time?
Yes, well, unfortunately, the parents no longer allowed into the building during COVID, so we have to, switch the children from them in the mornings and bring them out in the afternoons. So, we have specific girls who will greet the children at the door in the mornings and take them right to their classrooms. We require that obviously all of us teachers are wearing masks all day long, but we require to make sure every parent will pick up and drop off person have a mask as well. And if there's some reason you can't wear a mask, we ask that the parents have someone that can pick up and drop off that can wear a mask. We have the EEC attestation form that has to be filled out daily. So when they hand it to the teacher at the door, we'll look over the forms to make sure everything's okay before we bring yourself in. And we will also take temperatures throughout the day as well. Twice a day, usually to report it on that attestation form. Depending each school is different setups. So for example, schools have foyers. Some are smaller than others. So at our school, for example, we don't have parents come into the foyer, but we will take them right at the door. For other schools, it's only one family at a time that can go in. There are certain doors to enter and exit as well. We require that, or strongly suggest that the parents call 5 minutes before they're ready to pick up, so we can make sure it's all the wash hands as well. It's been working very well. The children actually have responded great to it, better than I thought they were going to respond. And we're actually finding that the separation is quicker than for the child. And it's still difficult because we're pride ourselves on parent communication. So we do try to arrange times for parent, a teacher needs to share something with the parent that myself or Katie at our school or one of our other certified teachers will stand in for a minute so that teacher can run the child out so they can, give any information necessary. But we also have the following times our schools have phones in them or the classrooms where the parents can tell them daily, keep that parent teacher communication.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a change, but I feel like everyone's adapted well. And, I feel like the kids, they don't even really notice as much as the adults do.
They
So,
really don't. It's working, actually working very well for them too.
yeah, I think so too. So the holidays are coming and everybody travels during the holidays. So Linda, do you want to talk about what Magical Beginnings is doing if families or staff are deciding to travel during this holiday season?
Yes, we're getting a lot of emails and questions about this. So we do realize that everyone wants to be with their loved ones during the holiday season. What we're hoping is that families will continue to limit exposure during these times and definitely follow the guidelines. Um, we know some of the guidelines we discussed today will undoubtedly change, and we'll continue to keep you updated over the next few weeks and months. We're asking that our staff or families that are planning to travel outside of Massachusetts, we're requiring that you notify your directors to let them know that your family is going to be traveling. We're asking families and staff also to follow all of the Massachusetts state travel guidelines. So if you are going to a high-risk state, we will require a negative COVID test to either come back to work or to have their children come back to Magical Beginnings. It's very vital that the families and the staff know that they really do need to talk to the directors. That way we can keep them informed of any town health department things that we're going by, guidelines, or any state regulations. Our goal, obviously, is to keep all of our staff and families healthy during these holiday seasons.
Yes. So, Courtney, we have implemented a new, attestation form that EEC has required. And this kind of goes back to a little bit of when the kids are entering in the morning and the new drop-off policies. Do you want to just talk about that attestation form, what it looks like, and explain it a little bit?
Sure, I have one right here. So this was developed by EEC and it has changed quite a few times as more information about the pandemic has come out and as the pandemic has changed. And like Linda said before, things will most likely change again. So I'm not sure how well you can see that. So this is to be filled out by the parents before the child can enter the building. We do email these out, put them in their backpacks to go home. And in case, life happens, you have kids, the morning's crazy, you forget your sheet, we do have them available to fill out here. It asks for the child's name, the date, the parent contact, and a phone number that somebody can be reached. Even though we have all this information on file, if your child does fall ill, we want to be able to get a hold of you as soon as possible. So if you're in a meeting and you have a different number, that needs to be put on there. It also asks for questions relating to your child's health and symptoms, such as if your child or anyone in the household has a temperature of 100 or above, a cough, a sore throat, difficulty breathing, gastrointestinal symptoms, new loss of smell or taste, muscle aches, fatigue. So fatigue, headache, runny nose, and congestion, those are important symptoms as well, but they have to be in combination with other symptoms in order for the child to be secluded or not allowed into the school. Everybody has a runny nose. It's super tricky, especially in daycare. But if it is in a runny nose going along with a sore throat or a runny nose and your child is tired, those are kind of red flags for us on the attestation form for us not to have your child come to school. Another update that EEC has added most recently is for mostly like a contact tracker. So tracking, it's asking where your child has been since the last time that they were at school. Were they at grandma's house? Did you go to Target, Home Goods? Just so in case somebody falls ill, it's an easier way for the Department of Health and EEC to trace where your child has been as well. We also have a morning temp and a signature. So we do ask that you take your child's temperature before they leave the house. And then we will take the temperature again twice throughout the day. One early morning, but enough time for your child to come in and for their body to regulate from having their coat and hat taken off. And then again, a little bit later in the day. The teachers also have a column. Obviously, if the child is in the school, all of these boxes are checked off no. So the teacher will also be monitoring any symptoms. And as the day goes on, they will either hopefully be checking off all the no boxes, but if any yeses do get checked off, they let the director know, and then we will call the parents and, explain the protocol about having your child get picked up. So if any of these answers are yes on the sheet, your child has to be out of the center for 72 hours symptom free, or if they are seen by a doctor and if it's strep throat, an ear infection, and the doctor clears the child to come back within the normal healthcare policy protocol of 24 hours, fever-free, medication-free, then that is okay. We're finding most recently now that when a child does have a symptom, the doctors are recommending that they do go ahead and get a COVID test to be cautious.
Yeah. And I think we're starting to see, we're going to get into that winter season. So we're going to see lots more runny noses. So I know, Courtney, you kind of touched a little bit on the policy, but Laura, do you want to go into more in depth of Magical Beginnings sick policy and things that might have been changed or added because of COVID?
So Courtney did at the time a good part of it, which is great. But now that COVID is here, we have much stricter regulations, and I must say that all of our parents have actually been very supportive and understanding of this, and which we're so thankful for, because it's a tough situation that everyone's in. So with the COVID, if there are the boxes checked off and a doctor does decide to do a COVID test, the child is not allowed to come until you get a negative result. Or like Courtney said, the 72 hours, food medicine, they don't have a COVID test. If someone is diagnosed positive, we will follow all of the, the state regulations. We report it to EPC, we report it to the Department of Public Health, they'll contact us and instruct us of every step we have to take. We're doing our best staffing wise to make sure that we're not cross-contaminating the staff. So in the event that somebody in our program did get it, we are, confident that, it doesn't spread out the school, as we could. If the child is showing symptoms at the school, we will remove them from the classroom and they will stay in one designated area. In our school, we do have the comfy couch that we put a sheet on and, put the child there until, help the child be comfortable for parents to see what's up. If a staff member shows any symptoms, they are immediately sent home as well. It's the same protocol for staff as well. If someone in your household is diagnosed positive, you must quarantine the child, staff member, whoever, for 14 days. Even if you have a negative COVID test, in that time you still have to quarantine for the 14 days. It's not reasonable because, it takes what we understand, it can take up to 14 days to develop symptoms. So you could have a negative COVID test on Monday, but maybe the symptom doesn't develop until 2 days after that. So we're just really stressing that to make sure that everyone's doing their part. Like I said, that we're thankful for the parents who are being extra cautious these days. It's wonderful. It's what I understand, it's 10 to 14 days after symptom onset and return, and we would require a negative COVID test as well for return.
Yeah, and then just a little bit about what we have to do in our part is If somebody was to test positive, we would reach out to our local health care department, and they would give us the next steps. So, and then obviously everyone would be notified. So we've had obviously a lot of changes. One of the biggest being that the mask policy. EEC at this time has not required the kids to wear masks, but adults and staff do. So Linda, do you want to talk about that mask policy more in depth for students and staff?
Absolutely. So for our staff, since we opened up all 6 locations again, we have required the staff to wear masks. The only time that right now they're not wearing masks is if they can social distance or if they're, might be on their lunch break. But other than that, our staff are wearing the masks. Because Massachusetts, the COVID numbers have increased over the last few weeks, we are highly recommending, but I want to be clear, we are not mandating that the children age 2 and up, when coming in the morning and leaving in the afternoon, we're recommending having them wear masks. Now, I understand the children may, not want to do that in the morning or the afternoon. We are not going to force any child to do that. But in our common areas, like our hallways and stuff, we're just going to try to encourage the kids, just like we do with the staff members, to wear them. For the kids that are in our preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, or school age program, we're going to strongly encourage the kids to wear their masks throughout the day. Certainly, if your child is having a difficult time, we will allow them to take their masks off and place them in their backpacks. Again, we just want to encourage, we're trying to keep everybody safe. I've spoken to many different owners across Massachusetts that have put the masks in place, and they say that the kids are doing wonderful with it. So again, it's just encouraged. We're asking parents to please send in extra masks, label with your child's name on it. As far as storage, if you could send in either brown lunch bags, or you can order off of Amazon, you can get mask cases that we can keep in their backpacks. So during the times that they're not going to be wearing them, they can put them away safely. The other recommendation, some schools are having families purchase children-sized lanyards. So that way the masks will stay directly around their necks. So if you're comfortable with that, you can send something into, again, everything that you send in, if you can just label with their name so there's no confusion, throughout the day. We will also provide child-sized masks. So if your child's mask should fall or get contaminated in any way, we will be happy to supply that. Or if it's just a burden for a family, please reach out to your directors and we'll make sure that we can give you extra masks for your family. One of the requirements, obviously, is that the children can successfully put the masks on and off themselves. So we're just asking families if you could practice. I'm sure if the kids go with you to the grocery store, practice with them getting their masks on and off just to help them be more successful. Pretty much that's everything on the masks. I just want to make sure that families do know this will be your choice and your child's choice. So if you do see a child coming in, walking in the building, I ask that we be respectful to one another. The families will have the choice on the masks. Again, just a recommendation on our part. We were starting to see an uptick in numbers also.
Yeah. So one other thing we had to unfortunately cancel during COVID was some of our awesome enrichment programs. So Courtney, do you want to just touch base on this about what Magical Beginnings is doing for students that need additional services as well as our enrichment programs?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, some of our programs that we had that the kids loved and the families loved as well, we had soccer shots that would travel to most of our schools. And we also had the lovely Senora Kristen, who is our Spanish teacher. And she would travel to some of the schools and spend 20 minutes in each classroom with infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. So unfortunately, because we cannot have staff going from school to school and going into different cohorts, we were no longer able to offer our Spanish program. During the closure, when the children who weren't here for emergency care, Senora Kristen would do Spanish lessons through our Facebook page. And even Mike from Soccer Shots would still give lessons through our Facebook page. So the kids would still have some connection with them and be able to participate. We also, unfortunately, were unable to have field trips come to our school this summer, and that's a huge part of our program and our summer camp. We would have programs such as the Bubble Man, Curious Creatures, Storytellers, the Ice Cream Truck. In the past, we've had the New England Aquarium come to the schools. So we were unable to do that this summer. We are in the process of trying to develop an awesome summer camp program for the kids. Hopefully 2021 will bring something a little bit different for the summer, but just in case it doesn't, we have a plan in place for that. Another super important, not necessarily enrichment, but a service that many of our families and a lot of families in the state of Massachusetts need and have access to is early intervention. And that's offered through infants up to the age 3 for any children that may have a type of delayment, whether it's social, emotional, cognitive, gross motor. So because we're not allowed to have additional people in the schools, we have made it possible for children's EIs to connect with the teachers in the classroom via Zoom calls if they have to do an observation on the child. Everything is confidential, nothing's recorded. The EI instructor has access. We provide extra staff in the room if needed, if the early interventionist needs to touch base with the teacher and possibly have them work with a child on a skill. If there was a situation where a child was in dire need of early intervention services, we would have the capability of having a secluded area in the school if needed, for the early interventionist to work with that child. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. And some agencies are willing to do that and some agencies are not. So we brought Zoom into the classroom so the teachers can connect with EI to help that child in any extra way that they can.
Yeah, and the classrooms all have their own tablets. So if for some reason they couldn't connect via Zoom, they do have the option to have constant communication through chat with them, through an app called WhatsApp. And they also can through their Class Dojo, which is awesome. So we've kind of gone over a lot. We've gone over a lot of the big changes that we've had to make due to COVID, but believe it or not, there's still some other things. So Linda, do you want to talk about the other smaller EEC guidelines that are in place in our classrooms throughout the day?
Yes. So we know right now that we cannot have families come into the building. But I want to have everybody, know and reassure everybody that the look and the feel of the classrooms remain the same. We don't have any plexiglass up or, standing walls that we've added to the classroom. We are committed to creating a safe and fun, nurturing environment for the children to come in each day to learn. Helping your child develop important social and emotional skills is pivotal, especially during these trying times. I can't stress enough how excited the kids are to be in the classrooms, to be with their friends, to be with their teachers. So we are doing our very best to make it seamless. So for them here at Magical Beginnings, COVID is outside and is not inside with us. So really working hard with that and keeping that consistency for the children. So some of the things that we've done, is the toys. We've always, washed the toys after the children if they put them in their mouths or coughed or sneezed on them. So if we have items in the classroom that we felt couldn't be easily washed, then they have been removed. So examples like any of the stuffed animals or pillows that might have been in the home living area, we have removed. We've taken out the sensory bins. The only sensory bins that we do now are individual bins, just so that they're, their hands aren't going into a bin and then another child is coming along to play with that. So they have individual bins for each child in the classroom. The teachers are doing their best to make sure the kids socially distance. So they have their areas set up throughout the classroom, and they have small groups in each area for them to interact. Same thing, circle time, meals time. They do their best to place the children so that they can social distance while during those activities. In preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, school age, they have their own individual pencil boxes labeled with their name along with art supplies. We have chosen during COVID to stop doing the teeth brushing right now. We're no longer at this time using any of our motor rooms for those schools that do have motor rooms. Again, the infant and toddler, any toys that they do place in their mouth are placed up on the counter and washed immediately and air dried before they go back into the group setting. We do ask that you make sure that your children do have extra set of clothes during the day, so that way if they do get them dirty or any bodily fluids get on them, we can change them immediately. And again, please label everything that comes into the classroom. In addition, we are not combining any children or staff between classrooms. So the children and the teachers stay in the same classrooms throughout the week. And we try to make sure that they are not going from one room to another. This is one way, that we can keep the spread down. This is why we actually had to reduce our hours, was to be able to staff each classroom safely. With the holidays approaching, knowing that these can be stressful times also, we know a lot of families are working from home remotely. If at any time through the holidays, during the winter, if you need to pick up a day or two during the week just on a temporary basis, please don't hesitate to reach out to the directors. They're always happy to help you in any way to get us through those busy times. They will still communicate through email. The teachers will communicate with the class dojo. Please feel free to call in. Infants, you can call in throughout the day if you'd like to talk to your teachers. Toddler call-in times between 12 and 2, and preschool, pre-K, and kindergarten call-in times between 1 and 2. So those are great times for you to reach out, ask any questions about things in the classroom, or letting them know about any behaviors you might be seeing at home or concerns that you have. They'll still be sending home the newsletters and the calendars to let you know what they're going to be doing in the classroom. Also, we will be doing our observations and getting those out to you the first of the year. The kindergarten classrooms will send home report cards. And if you feel that you need to have a meeting with your classroom teachers, again, talk to your directors and they'll be happy to set something up for you through Zoom. And that's pretty much, Melissa, all of the protocols we've kind of changed throughout the classroom. I don't know if there's any that you want to touch on or.
I think that we've covered pretty much everything in this session. So I just want to say that it was really important to us to make this our first video because, this is a different time. And like I said in the beginning, you don't get the chance to kind of see what we're doing on the inside and everything because nobody gets to come in the school besides staff and children. We really want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today and to watch this video. I know it's a lot of information, so feel free to rewind and rewatch whatever you need to. We hope it was helpful. And if you have any additional questions, please always just reach out to your director of your child's location or email any questions you have. We're going to continue to do these circle chats on a monthly basis. So the next one that is coming at you is in mid-December, and you got to meet some of the directors today, but not all of us. So we have lots of more staff to introduce, and we're going to kind of share a little bit about Magical Beginnings and our story because the directors are more connected than you think, and we're all a little family. So we hope you enjoyed this. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Melissa, just quickly, I just like to give a quick thank you to the families for their support during these difficult times, and thank you for the emails that you've been sending, you know, just letting us know that you're thankful for our staff and all the things that the office is doing for them to make these difficult times easier. So be safe. Happy holidays, everyone.